I'm excited because generative AI pushed the envelope and improved the quality of customer service. That's why I'm excited because there is an AI strategy that is a support of the human race and not an AI strategy that wants to remove humans from their job.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Modern Customer Podcast. My name is Blake Morgan. My next guest on the show is Cosimo Spera, the founder and CEO of Minerva CQ. Minerva CQ is an AI copilot that helps contact center agents work faster and makes calls shorter. Cosimo is a world-renowned mathematician who is an expert at AI and machine learning. He is a Silicon Valley veteran who's held leadership positions for various early, mid, and late-stage startups in customer engagement technology and the energy space. Prior to working in technology, Cosimo was a Fulbright professor at the University of California, Berkeley, and a professor at the University of Siena. Today, we're talking about generative AI, how it's going to change the contact center, and where companies are still having gaps in customer service and how that impacts customer expectations. Please enjoy Cosimo Spera. Cosimo, welcome back to the Modern Customer Podcast. It's so nice to see you, and I wish we were doing this in person and we could have some cappuccinos in the Bay or something.
Well, actually, I'm right now in Chicago. But next time we'll make sure that we will have in person in front of a good cappuccino or an espresso for me, because the real Italians do not have cappuccino after 10 a.m.
Oh, only espresso?
Only espresso,
And why is that?
because nobody drinks milk after 10 a.m.
Oh, interesting. I've been trying to game the system a bit to I play with it, like some days just how much coffee I can take and my body can take. But we have like a really intense espresso coffee machine in my house. Like for me, coffee is a very big part of my life. But then you overdo it and it doesn't feel good anymore. So it's always a delicate balance.
I know, I know.
So
But glad to be here. So
yes, it's so nice to see you. You, Cosimo, are the first person that I've ever met, and we met, I think, 3 years ago, that is like a trained mathematician that brought a special math to UC Berkeley. It's very hard for someone like me to understand like what that is and why anyone would pursue that. What is it like to see the world as someone that is just like a math whiz? Is there some different lens that you've got when you look at problems as a mathematician?
I think, people think that mathematics is a very arid subject, but mathematics really stimulates your fantasy because it's probably the only science that we know that where you have to think in more than 4 dimensions. And when you're starting to think outside of the 3 dimensions, you need to have a significant effort of fantasy to understand and visualize things. So what I found fascinating for me is that mathematics allows you to explain many phenomena, right? You almost can explain everything through math and through the foundations of math. And what I found fascinating, I remember to tell my students to say and make them interested in math, to say, do you know how the TV works? And some people would have made an effort to explain how it works, but in the reality, the mechanism that makes the TV work is based on a mathematical discovery done by a French mathematician called Fourier, who invented this transformation. It's called the Fourier transform, that was invented 200 years prior to the
You're talking
inventions of the
about the
TV.
invention of television?
No, I'm talking about that the mechanism for which television works,
Okay.
relies on a mathematical discovery that was much before. So mathematics always anticipate what the world could do. I mean, today we're talking about generative AI. We're talking about the importance of AI. But if you actually are simplifying this, the basic for generative AI, it's what is called basic operations in linear algebra. Has to do with a vector and a matrix multiplication.
Well, let me
And it's
stop you, Cosimo, because 3 years ago you started Minerva CQ. Is it 3 years yet or almost?
almost 3 years. Almost 3 years, yes.
Okay, almost 3 years. So you're very early to the generative AI world. You've seen what's happened with contact centers implementing generative AI. What are some of the big takeaways that you've had in the last 3 years as you've seen your own agent assist software come to life? Now, generative AI helping agents. Like, what are some of the major ahas that you've had just seeing it play out in real life in contact centers?
Well, first of all, let me take a little bit of credit. We were the first one 3 years ago to believe that the world of contact centers would have changed by the deployment of AI. So that at least we got things right. And then let me also say that there are copilot and copilots, right? So the idea that today everybody gets behind a single word called copilot to indicate a way to assist humans, has many facets. How do I assist the humans? What are the things that the human needs to know? How you make them to produce much better than what they are doing today. And now I want to remind you that there are some people, even in the contact center space, where you know we experience significant churn, among the agent population. But still, you have people who have some level of expertise. And that level of expertise, you need to understand and make sure that how you are supporting through a copilot is not by baby stepping every way through auto resolutions, but really providing the informations that the agent does not have at their fingertips.
Let
So
me let me
what
interrupt you, Cosimo, though, but because Copilot, what is that for people that don't know?
So let's start with simplifying things. Copilot is a piece of software, which means there is a code written in a computer language that allows to produce some output given a given input. What generally is the input that we are giving to our copilot in the contact center? We are giving as input the snippets of the conversations that occurs between the customers and the representative of the brand. What is the output that we get? The output that we get is the knowledge that the agents needs to have in order for the agents to be able to address the concerns of the customers. How many times today, we have experienced frustration, because agents says, Mrs. Blake, can I put you on hold, on a brief hold? And the brief hold is 5 minutes, and then it comes back and it says, I still need the 2 more minutes to figure something out. And what we're trying to avoid the frustrations by providing the knowledge in real time on the screen of the agents so that the agents can be effective in interacting with the customers.
Yeah, and Daniel Hong has talked about your software likening it to Waze for agents. So for our audience, so Minerva CQ provides agent assist, so guidance to help agents because often agents don't have what they need to do their jobs, and that's why the experience is so slow. Would you say that's true?
I have to say it's absolutely so. And I'll give you like an example that happened to me 3 days ago. I bought a TV and I bought a TV on Amazon, and the TV was delivered the next day. The delivery company comes and delivers the TV, leaves, and takes out the box. Then I started to realize the TV is broken, has a big crack on the back. So I called
Oh
Amazon and I
no.
says, I need to replace my TV. And they says, okay, we're gonna give you a ship label for return, put in the box. Well, there is a problem. Your delivery company took the box, and they says, well, you have to put the TV in a box. I say, I don't have a box, and this is like a 80 inches TV. How am I gonna do it? I don't have. Oh, can you go and buy a box? How do I buy a box for 80 inches? And then what is my fault? And I'm trying to say, what will be simpler that you actually bring a replacement and you take the TV back? It turns out that I had to do 2 different transactions. It's still a nightmare. But after 3 days, they came and picked up the TV. They came, and the delivery company was under the impression that I had a box. And they didn't want to take
Oh
the
no.
TV because they say, oh, you don't have a box, even if I had reported that I had a box. So this is the contact center of a company that is at the frontier of AI.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
unfortunately,
shocking.
provides a very poor experience, to me, because as a practitioner in this field, as an expert in mathematics, I knew exactly how struggling the agent was, and I'm trying to help her. Not to mention that I went through 5 different agents, and each time I have to repeat myself. But it was really a frustrating experience. So the objective for a copilot is, can you have the agents to overcome this type of situations where, you know uh, immediately, if there is something that is outside of the normal processes, the agent knows how to handle, because
Yeah.
the agent has a script, and the return says, generates a shipping label, provide a shipping label to the customers, ask the customers to put the items in a box, tell the customers to stick the shipping label outside and leave outside the door. And those are the prescriptive thing, right? The moment that the shipping box is not there, everything changes. Nobody knows how to do it.
Yeah, it's a small thing that, like, why did the delivery people take the box back? It's like a basic thing, like leave the box just in case something goes
Yeah, but
wrong
they
or
made a
quality
mistake. Mistakes
issues.
happen, right?
Yeah.
Mistakes happen. They make a mistakes. They thought about that, because it was a special delivery that they have to install the TV. They thought that when they done the job, they can take the box back. I mean, it's an honest mistakes. You can fault those people. You have to fault the fact that mistakes happen, but there is no processes that have been put in place for the people to understand how to overcome things that are not linear processes.
It seems like a training issue. Like the agent should know that an 80-inch television box is not an easy thing to find. It's not a very valuable thing, a cardboard box, but you're not going to go to UPS or FedEx and they're not going to have an 80-inch box for you, Cosimo. So it's like these basic little things that some say like AI is going to change the whole contact center landscape and we won't need people at all, really, in the contact center. I mean, I'm sure people ask you all the time if AI is going to
This
replace
is
agents.
this is to me, it's a falsehood, and I'll tell you why. We will need less people, but we still need people, because at the end of the day, this information that is generated from the generative AI needs to be vetted. Needs to be
Yeah.
vetted. So, and I'll give you. I was talking with potential customers today, and I gave this example. That you run a promotion, and the promotion is part of your knowledge base. Suppose you change the promotion, and you are not updating, the documentations of your knowledge base. So you're not updating your model. What does it mean? It means that that information remains there. That means that that information now generates hallucination, through the generative
Yeah.
AI. So if you are selling something at $50, and now you are removing the promotions, and that is not $50, but nobody knows, and you have not removed from this, as some mistakes happen, human can make a corrections into that, but the software doesn't know how to correct it. So you still need the people to be able to vet that information. And you still need the people to understand the quality of what gets generated from the AI. I think
Yeah.
that most of people today are satisfied with very simple question and answers, right? The question and answers is, I say questions and I get the right answers. And we call this FAQ, frequently asked questions. And those are the ones that are simple to retrieve and simple to provide, and also simple to somehow to automate. Now, think about that you have complex answer generated from an AI model. How are you going to evaluate if this answer is something that you can elevate to a rank of an FAQ? Because the joke on the internet is, there are AI companies that build wrappers around ChatGPT. They make $4 million in revenue,
Hmm.
but they pay $100 million in LLM cost. So you have $4 million in revenue, but then in order for you to generate $4 million, you have to pay $100 million. We asking the question is, how good we can be when we evaluate answers, that are coming from Gen AI. Can we use the humans, in order for us to evaluate and rank those answers, so that we don't have to regenerate those answers
Yeah.
again, and we can store, simply as an FAQ.
One example comes from Air Canada, and their chatbot hallucinated. The customer wanted a bereavement policy, wanted a cheaper flight because his family member died. And he asked the chatbot, would that be possible if he got reimbursed later? And the chatbot said, yes, we'll reimburse you. And the ticket was very expensive for him, $700. Then he finally came back from the funeral and asked for the money back. And Air Canada said, oh, the chatbot was wrong, sorry, we're not gonna give you money back for your ticket. And he took Air Canada to court, and Air Canada lost. He sued them, so they had to give $700. But it's amazing to trust these chatbots that are put out that maybe are not trustworthy. And then it's embarrassing when the company tries to say, they literally said, the chatbot, we're not liable because it's a third party, it's not us.
So it's interesting. So I'll tell you a little bit without naming more complicated story. Uh, Somebody put a videos or on how to activate a mortgage, in a way that would have been facilitated the newly wed in being a first time buyer. The law changes and the videos now get removed, and people were applying by following the descriptions of that video without knowing that they would have been denied because the law had changed. So again, you need somehow understand that when you are putting informations on the internet, specifically when it's information that is related to business are in constant evolution, and their product and their information evolves. So the moment that information evolves and supersede some of the old information, then you need to make sure that all information is all purged. Otherwise, you are creating a disaster. And the only person who can overcome the creation of these disasters are the humans in the loop. So humans in the loop are going to be necessary to advance the quality of the AI, and that is a fact. Now, for sure, there are things that we are going to do, in a self-serve containment, and hence we don't need that many people, but we still need people. In fact, interesting enough, you will see that the handling time of the agent today has increased by 40%, because
Right.
what the agents are dealing are with very complex transactions, and all the simple one have been deflected. And so now you have agents who takes way more time to perform. Hence the importance of these copilot solutions that are at supporting of these people.
That's interesting. And that's sort of what everyone predicted, that the digital should take care of the low hanging fruit and the complicated matters go to an agent. Tell us, Cosimo, what are the biggest opportunities of AI for customer experience?
It's the biggest opportunity for customer experience is to increase customer satisfactions. That's the biggest opportunity. At the end of the day, if you are interacting with somebody, it's because you have a problem that you were not able to solve in a self-service way. Because if I have a look at my bank account, I can log in in my bank account. But if I need some transactions that it looks fishy, or I don't recognize. I like to talk with somebody. So again, the problem is, can AI make sure that when our people are interacting with the brand, can the AI make this experience an experience that it's valuable for the customers, that the customers doesn't have to call 15 times or doesn't get frustrated? Because to me, like, think about my experience with the TV with Amazon. Would I ever buy a TV on Amazon? For God, no. I rather prefer to walk and drive to Costco and buy to Costco and load in the car and load and install on my own than not calling Amazon, because my experience has been a disaster.
It's interesting their approach to solving small problems versus big problems. Like if you ordered groceries from Whole Foods and some of your fruit was rotten, they'll just refund you. And I'm pretty sure there's no human involved. Then you get the bigger ticket items like your TV, which probably cost over $1,000, and they're incompetent. They don't give you the box. When the people are involved, it's almost worse.
I mean, there is an economic law, right? If you have a rotten fruit, like, what is the cost for you to replace a salad? So they rather, to give you the discount or refund, and instead go to Whole Food and pick up something else, and we will. So obviously, the logistics of delivery for small, ticket item is significantly high. So somehow, giving away on this, but as you say, is that are holding. And by the way, in a week, I still have got my refund on my card. Right? So I'm still
Oh.
waiting for a week to get a refund.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because they might with like things that could be fraud. And I always like to give Amazon the benefit of the doubt because most of the time they do such a good job and I always talk about them in my speeches and they're just a wonderful company, but even the best, the highest performers, they're processing so many interactions all the time. So like probably more than any other business on the
For
planet.
sure.
So that's why those operations and those processes are so important that it's quality assurance. It has to be every single time or else it doesn't matter.
No,
Checking the box.
checking the box. But what really is, to me, what was the frustrations? You think about, when I think of Amazon, I think a company at the frontier of AI. Right? I think a
Okay.
company that has developed and it provides access to developers to tools that are state of the art of AI. And then I'm looking that in their day-to-day operations, they don't apply what they preach. And that
Well, it
is
was
interesting.
human error, though. It could have been the worker that maybe he was supposed to leave the box, but he forgot. He walked out with it. So I think that's what's hard too, is they're managing so many people and they're growing so quickly that it's very hard to train people that
Yeah,
quickly
true.
and to scale.
Obviously, I could tell that I went from a contact center in the overseas on the Southeast Asia to a contact center maybe into the Philippines, to a contact center in South Africa, and I get to a contact center at the end in South America. And you can tell because probably I could even know who their BPOs were, but it was interesting to see that it's a problem that is common throughout the outsourcing companies that Amazon might use.
Even Apple, like these best in class companies, they're not perfect. Like I had a bad experience with Apple when I had an issue with my phone. I was shocked. I thought Apple's outsourcer doesn't have XYZ data to help their customer. And it's so complicated. These businesses are so big that even if you're 100%, you're highest performing out of your cohort, you're still going to have missteps. But I hope you get your TV issue resolved. Maybe someone from
Yeah,
Amazon will be
I
watching this
got.
and you'll get a nice email and say, "We're so
Yes, I
sorry."
hope. Yeah.
You hope,
No, no,
and you can watch your TV.
I'm not concerning about the TV, but as it says, as somebody in this field, that is somebody who is trying to build the software to overcome those type of issues. I find very interesting that company that are at the frontier of AI, that don't use AI in their internal processes to improve the quality of the service that
They
they
might. We
provide
might
to their
not know.
customers.
They might. We might not know. They don't tell us everything.
Yes, we might never know, but
We
there's
might never.
this
They're
is
not going to tell
yeah.
us how the secret sauce is made. But overall, I'm a very big Amazon customer, and but
I
those
think I have
experiences
been,
can
yeah,
be
I
frustrating.
have been a Prime member since the Prime program started on day one.
Same,
So
yeah. I sometimes they'll tell you how much money you've saved, how many hours you've spent shopping on Amazon. It's always alarming to see those numbers, but I realize Amazon is such a big part of my life. But let's talk about the future of AI. You've said that you still foresee a world where people are needed and AI solves a lot of the gaps and the low hanging fruit. I mean, why are you still excited about generative AI and in this industry?
I'm excited because generative AI push the envelope and improve the quality of customer service. That's why I'm excited. I'm excited because there is an AI strategy that is a support of the human race, and not an AI strategy that wants to remove humans, from their job. Interesting. I was talking with a customer that says, I'm interested in not to say how I'm going to reduce my employees. I'm interested in to say how can I improve the quality of their life. I'm interested in their well-being. And I'm excited because AI today, if used in the appropriate way, can really improve the quality of the human race. Productivity in increase. You have a much better joy in doing your job. But don't forget that these jobs are frustrating jobs, right? You get chewed every single time. But if you can, overcome and you can provide great services, then the human race is fundamentally good. So people will treat you with respect. People will not, be rude on the phone with you and so on. So my excitement about AI is because I see this as the evolutions of productivity and how productivity improve the quality of the humans.
Cosimo, if people want to connect with you or learn more about your company, Minerva CQ, what's the best way for them to do that?
We have a website, www.minervacq.com. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I generally, you can simply, my name is very uncommon, unique, like Cosimo Spera. So, or send me an email at cosimo@minervacq.com.
All right. Well, this has been so interesting and so fun. And I hope you'll come back and we'll talk more AI shop.
But
And I hope you get your TV fixed.
I promise one thing. So the TV was fixed, so I have a new TV, so this is
Oh,
good.
good.
But I promise next time we're gonna have a live podcast, at a coffee
Oh,
shop,
yes.
either in the Bay Area or in Orange County.
All right. That sounds amazing. Everybody, you've been tuning into the Modern Customer Podcast. Thanks for watching and listening. Until next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on social media, including Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and more.